Hi, I'm Dr. Shirley Spoors, consultant biochemist and specialty lead for clinical biochemistry and immunology. And I've worked in pathology for over 20 years. How did I get here and to this point of my career? Well, I have to say that I've got here with a lot of hard work and great support from my family, teachers, friends, and colleagues. I am Nottingham born and bred, and I grew up during the times where the National Front was very public. Enoch Powell spoke his mind about immigration. There were race riots across the country and high employment. A very different Britain to the one today. Both parents are from the sunny island of Jamaica, and they came to this country in the late 50s, one to help the NHS and the other to study to become a chartered accountant, both with a plan to go back home. But they met in Nottingham, married and raised 6 children, me being number 2. Both were strict Christians and they knew the importance of education and told us that we would have to work twice as hard to get through life, and that this country would never accept us as being English, even though we were born here. Enoch Powell's famous speech stayed with my dad for many, many years. Anyway, as an accountant, my dad would regularly set us maths homework, and unlike my siblings, I loved it. I loved solving the problems of the maths questions and getting them right. So at the age of 12, I was going to be a mathematician. My school teachers were great. They pushed me to get great O levels, and I went to college and studied for A levels maths. I wanted to do maths, advanced maths, even more maths, but I wasn't allowed to do that. So I did maths, and I chose biology and chemistry, and that's when things changed. There was one biology lesson where my teacher, Mrs. Sharp, started talking about biochemistry, and she displayed an overhead acetate showing the different biochemical pathways in the human body. And that's when I decided that I would want to study biochemistry. So I went to university and I did a biochemistry degree, and after that I did a PhD in biochemistry, and I was going to emigrate to the US as a researcher, biochemistry, and I started having second thoughts. My PhD supervisor saw that and he suggested I should go and have a chat with a friend of his who was a consultant biochemist at Kingsmill Hospital. And that's what I did, and I just thought, this is what I want to do. So a junior grade A job came up at Derby Royal Infirmary. I applied and I got it, and that's when my career path started. I would inevitably be the only black person in a meeting or in a conference. There might be the odd one or two, but most of the time I was the only black face in the room. But that didn't bother me. I just wanted to get the job done. I used to be asked a lot, where are you from? And I would say Nottingham. And they would say, no, I mean, where are you really from? And that was upsetting, but I became thick-skinned and just smiled and said, both my parents are from Jamaica. And my dad was right. I thought that I would never be accepted in this country. Anyway, climbing the career ladder wasn't always smooth running. I had to overcome a few hurdles. There was a time when I was unsuccessful at interview, and later told off the record that I didn't get it because I was pregnant. at the time, and I actually told them that in the interview because I thought that would be fair for them to understand. And knowing that I didn't get the job because of that upset me. I was a whistleblower when I found a senior staff member inappropriately using hospital IT. Again, that was hard because I was targeted for redundancy after a department reshuffle, and I was made redundant. But my union had a field day and we settled out of court in the end. It was then I decided I wanted to learn about employment law. So when I moved to Bassett Law Hospital and I became a consultant biochemist, I also took on the role of union rep for the Federation of Clinical Scientists. There are only 4 of us in the hospital, and I wanted to make sure that we had a voice. And I have to say, the skills that I've learned and the information that I've learned became invaluable when I was made head of clinical biochemistry and immunology. I've had great support from my colleagues, juniors and seniors. I was given the opportunity to progress here, and I'm really grateful for that. When part of pathology went through a very challenging time, I presented a solution to the then chief exec and clinical director, and they believed in me and trusted me to deliver, and I did. And that's when the Department of Clinical Laboratory Sciences was born, and with me as the head of department. That was roughly 12 years ago, and a lot has happened during that. Both my children are now their own adults, and I keep telling them they don't know they're lucky they're born, but they tell me that things really haven't changed, Mum. And I can see that now, but with the Black Lives Matter movement. So we do have a long way to go. I continue to have great support from my colleagues here at DBTH, and I feel valued. We're a happy team in pathology, and that translates into great care for our patients. So how did I get here and in this point of my career? I'll go back to it. A lot of hard work and great support from my family, teachers, friends and colleagues. Thank you.